Hello and welcome to another episode of Dear Hollow Heroes. As always, I'm here with Meek Man Liam Meekum.
What's going on, guys?
And Robespierre Rob Kelly.
I'm here as well.
Let's get right into the top stories.
Alright, so we're going to get right...
I stole his line.
we are going to get right into the top stories today. So, leading off, we're going to go into the NFL. On Sunday, the Bills defeated the Chiefs to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Bills are now one game closer to the postseason with the aid of Miami losing to the Titans. But on the other end, the Chiefs are left embarrassed and questioning their legitimacy as frontrunners for the AFC crown. Quarterback Pat Mahomes has become the main topic due to his actions after the offsides penalty that negated a go-ahead touchdown. What do we think of Mahomes' reaction? And where do the Chiefs go from here? But first, I have to say something about the Bills. I would like to write a formal apology letter to Sir Josh Allen. Whoa. After watching that game, I have to say, everything that I have heard that have been excuses for the man have been true. I sat there, watched the first snap to the last snap, and my goodness, does no one help him.
Nobody!
Oh my goodness. Stephon Diggs just randomly disappears, which is true. Gabe Davis was non-existent.
To be expected, he boomer bust.
The only receiver that looked somewhat reliable was Dalton Kincaid.
I could have said it with
rookie.
You. Yep.
That's not fair.
Nope. I feel like I've heard all these talking points before.
Yeah.
But I have to say as well, the defense definitely is still underrated. I feel like
the defense is still good.
It's still good, and it has very much helped them.
Yeah.
Coaching, play calling is pitiful.
Yeah.
It's pitiful, but they fired their OC, so you can't really use that as an excuse. They have a backup OC right now. But the offensive line is okay. At best. At best, they're okay. I saw a couple plays where I was like, that was terrible, but they're at least enough time where he can make a play. But because you got to look into, I try to avoid the third down and longs where they're just trying to hold on to the ball and get sacked. I don't really count those. But for 5 seconds, for the 5 second count, if you can hold the defensive pass rush, you did your job. They were about like 70%, which is okay. It's okay. So after all that, I got to say, I do owe Josh Allen an apology, at least for now. But he still does make questionable decisions. But after watching that, how can you help but make questionable decisions with a team like that? So I feel like give him, and this is a crazy thing to say, but give him, if he's the quarterback for the Giants, the Patriots, maybe not the Steelers, but for Miami, especially Miami, he's the best quarterback in the league if he's the quarterback for Miami. Give him a quarterback coach, he'd go crazy. So
I agree.
I think that I do owe him an apology. And also, what's so funny is I used to make fun of Josh Allen for his actions, but my goodness, did that come out of nowhere with Pat Mahomes? Unbelievable.
So here's what I want to say before we blow this out of proportion.
Can we blow it out of proportion first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. He looked like a Looney Tune on the field. The guy was clearly offsides. There was no reason he should have acted like that. He sounds like Kermit the Frog. I want to hear the audio of him screaming at the ref.
Do you also want to blow it out of proportion?
I think this is the end of his career.
Is this the end of the Chiefs dynasty?
No, not even close, but it is embarrassing.
Don't get me wrong, it is embarrassing, but I also think we tend to think of athletes, especially superstars like Mahomes, not as people, but as almost characters on a TV show. And when they do something like this, we don't think, oh, maybe they're having a bad day, maybe something went wrong in their head. We just think, oh, that's unprofessional. We've come to know Patrick Mahomes as a pretty relatively even-keeled guy, pretty good guy. I don't think this one thing that, he lost a close game against not a divisional rival, but a rival in the AFC, and their playoff chances were greatly hurt. And he's not on the field. He doesn't get. Well, he was on the field, but he doesn't get to see that Kadarius Toney was offsides. You got to look at it. Maybe something went wrong with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to give him a pass at least once. He's typically not immature.
Yes, he's typically not immature. I think it's more of a culmination of he was angry that the play got called back because the play was amazing. You know, it was so cool. It was a 20-yard pass to Kelsey, who then threw it to Tony, who ran it in for the touchdown. It was phenomenal. Really well done. Textbook how they wanted it. But Tony was clearly offsides, and I think Mahomes was mad, but he was also a captain of a football team, and he's like, I'm not just going to go yell at Tony. I'll go yell at the ref who made the call. Listen, I go yell at the ref. People yell at refs all the time. But at least I'm not yelling at my teammate out in the open public. I'll wait till we get in the locker room after the press leaves.
I didn't think about that.
I 100% was thinking exactly what Rob was thinking. But I disagree on you with one thing. That play was the least textbook play I've ever seen in my life.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to interrupt.
It was textbook to how they
Andy
drew it up.
Reid.
I don't know. Andy Reid hates when Kelsey laterals it. He always looks for it. He hates it.
I thought that was a part of the plan.
No, hates it.
No, dude. That was Travis Kelsey just doing
He improvises.
He improvises, and he does it all the time.
He does.
He got a touchdown off of it, too.
He's also fumbled off of it.
LeSean McCoy's actually got a touchdown off of it. Yeah, that's happened a lot. So, that was just the most, crazy timing.
It's why you watch football, plays like that.
Yeah, so after watching that, I agree with Rob. I think it was frustration with the receivers. I think he has absolutely had it with Kadarius Toney being his number one. He's absolutely had it.
Well, he's got Rashee Rice now.
Yeah,
he's playing a little bit better.
He's the only one that's probably off the hit list with Mahomes right now.
And that's primarily because he's still a rookie.
Yeah.
You can't expect him to be your number one off rip because that wasn't even their plan going into the season.
Even Kelsey has looked like he's taken a step back this season.
33 drops.
Yeah, it's
absurd.
Listen, he's still probably the best tight end in football, but it's getting closer now.
If Brock Purdy keeps passing to Kittle, it might be passing the baton.
I don't know if it's Kittle.
He keeps passing to Kittle.
Give me a couple healthy seasons with Mark Andrews.
Give it another season, it might be Laporta.
Laporta's good.
With the numbers he's putting up, he's very good.
He's good, and he's Goff's favorite target. But we have to see because Goff's only for so long, you know? True. So you got to see what the next quarterback for Detroit's going to be. But anyway, I think that play was frustration with his receivers, but I do not think he deserves the grand pass that you're saying. I feel like in a punishment regarding situation, yes. But he deserves the flack he's getting. You are the face of NFL football. Since 2018, if he's been the face of NFL football, it's either him or Brady, but especially because Brady's gone, he's by far the face of football. You've seen
Brady do things like this.
But again, he's also gotten the same flack that we're giving him. He has. Every non-Patriots fan is loving him.
But Brady was more of a villain than Patrick Mahomes was. Patrick Mahomes is less of a villain.
If you're given that role, though, exactly. If you're given that role, you can't do that. Brady Bucks couldn't do that because he's now a hero when he went to the Bucks. He was no longer the villain. So if you're the hero role, you can't do that. And that's who he is. He's the face of the league. He's the hero. He's the guy everyone looks up to. I don't care how bad your day is. I don't care how bad your receivers are. I don't care how many drops you get. That is your role. That is your job. Your position for the NFL is greater than quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. That's just how the NFL has propped you up to be. That's why he's, I think, the highest paid player in the league. And that's why he gets all the stuff he has. Because he's designated with this role that's bigger than quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. And to do something like that, I believe that there is so many justifiable reasons to act like that. Believe me, I'd be throwing my helmet at Kadarius Toney. I would lose it. But with that role, he can't. He just can't.
I think, now, he can. He's still a player. Players get emotional. That's part of the reason people also love football. They love watching players lose their minds on the sideline. The clips of them go viral all the time. But I think the thing that is really hurting Mahomes isn't him yelling at the ref and his teammates holding him back against the ref. It's when he goes to midfield to dap up Josh Allen.
And he still complains.
And he still complains to Josh Allen of all people.
As if Josh Allen cares.
One, as if Josh Allen cares. And two, how many times have you personally just demolished Josh Allen's hopes and dreams in under 2 minutes?
That's a good point.
And also, how many times have you got bailed out by refs in under 2 minutes? Let's take a look at some serious moments that the Chiefs have gone bailed out with.
What do you mean take a look at it? We can flash them on the screen.
Audio.
No, let's listen to
Throw them up on the board.
All right, so you have James Bradbury in the Super Bowl last year. That was a very controversial call.
Yeah.
You have their first Super Bowl run when they got the first seed because N'Keal Harry of the Patriots stepped out of bounds when he clearly wasn't out of bounds. When you look back, that was before you could replay a play like that. He was not out of bounds, but they called it out. And that gave the Chiefs the first seed, which allowed all the teams to get kicked out. So, and all of these factors come in. You have also a roughing the passer that they had on Joe Burrow, I believe, in the AFC Championship game that they never called. There was a roughing the passer on Russ that they never called this year. There's so many missed calls that, one, this wasn't a missed call, and two, stop yelling at the refs. You've got them.
There was something early this year, too, with Sauce Gardner, no?
Yeah, there's been a lot of missed calls. It seems like the refs only get worse year by year. But the thing is, as Pat Mahomes, you're still fighting for your team, and I think he's still gonna yell at the ref because most of the times, now Tony didn't do this on display. Most of the times, the receiver will look over to the referee,
and check with the ref,
and check, am I on the line? Especially if they need to be back, if they need to be on the line. Now, what really gets me is the main clip of Tony. You see him looking over at the line where he is clearly above the ball. And I don't understand how he didn't see it.
I mean, as a Giants fan, I can tell you the simple answer. He stinks at football and shouldn't have a contract. But
he was 2 feet above the
good
end.
Punt return.
Oh my God, him and Richie James.
It's just a weird picture to look at because one, he's on the line, clearly clearly above the ball, but he's looking almost directly at it.
But what I love is all the people online saying, "Oh, he wasn't over. He wasn't over." He most certainly was over.
Definitely was. That is not the question.
There's no debate.
There was right. Over. This is what bothers me. It was the right call. So why are they complaining when even Andy Reid believes it was the right call? Because he said in his press conference something similar to this. I'm going to paraphrase it. He basically said that they're so used to refs giving a warning that, like, you were offsides this play.
True.
Next time we're calling it. Apparently, back in the day, with every team got this privilege, where if you were offsides, like, once. But this year, apparently that's been cracked down. And then this time, finally...
Fair.
But this is my thing. Why was it cracked down? Needless to say, let's take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs. When Jawan Taylor was offsides every single offensive snap against the Detroit Lions to start the season. Where do you think that came from? He was lining up as a slot receiver. So if you're really wondering, we never got a warning, you got like 55 warnings in the first game. So you used up your warnings for the year.
I used to do that all the time playing tackle. I would line up like maybe a yard in the backfield just to see if they would tell me to go back on the line because they always give you a warning. And sometimes they would, and I would have to adjust. But sometimes I would get the lineup in the backfield for most of the game. And it's a huge advantage for a tackle. You have to kick step so much slower. So they do give you warnings. I've had them before. I used to use them.
So I think the NFL cracked down on them, which
understandable.
I'm great with that.
Yeah.
Like, I know that you don't want flags to determine the game, but you also don't want any team to get an advantage. And
we can all pretend like, oh, it's a courtesy warning. It's really just seeing how long you can get away with it for until the ref says something. That's really what it is.
Yeah. And you don't... I'm sorry, one more thing before I go. Do you really, if you're a Bills fan, do you want a warning to be the reason you lose the game and probably your season? Because even with Miami losing yesterday, that doesn't mean nothing.
Because we would have been having a worse conversation with these pictures if Kadarius Toney was not called for this.
And the fact that he scored too.
Yeah.
He was one that scored.
Yeah.
That was...
I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Sorry.
You
That's all right. We can move on.
All right. So
I think we've covered this, right?
Yeah, pretty well.
So it's time for Stat of the Week. We all know that Shohei Ohtani had
I feel like we're ripping something off doing that, right?
Every single time he says something, like some sort of intro, it just sounds too game hosty to be like, I definitely heard that before.
They do this on TNT. It's Ernie's Nito Stat of the Week. We're just directly, we have to cut this, but we're just directly ripping it off.
We're not cutting it. We all know that Shohei Ohtani had a record-breaking contract. 10 years, $700 million. So let's break that down. So, per year, Shohei Ohtani will be getting $70 million. Per month, Shohei Ohtani will be getting $5.83 million. Per week, he'll be getting $1.35 million. Per day, $191,780 per day. Per hour, he gets $7.99 thousand. So he gets
I love the way you wrote it here because it looks like $7.99,000.
And per minute, he gets $137.18. And per second, the day Shohei Ohtani's contract would have started, and for the next 10 years, he'd make $2.22 per second. That's unbelievable.
That's an unbelievable amount of money. If breaking news didn't just make it completely null and void.
It's now obsolete because
he's only making $2 million a year.
So let's get into that. All right. So per month he gets $166,000. Per week he gets $41,000. Per day he gets $5,952. Per hour he gets $248. Per minute he gets $4.13, and per second he gets 7 cents. So even with 2.86% of his contract, he gets 7 cents a second. That's wild. Just insane.
So if he drops a dime out of his pocket, it's not worth it for him to go pick it up because he's already made more money.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. It's also just a ridiculous contract in general.
Oh no, unreal.
And if he accepted the full contract, if he dropped $1 every second, it's not worth it. He doubled it.
Yeah.
And also, I did the math. He'd pay off my student loans, my own student loans. He paid off in 8 hours.
Yeah, that's
just
crazy.
Just work a shift. Just work one shift of a normal 9 to 5 job. He's done. My student loans are paid. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, pretty much one game.
One game, yeah. One game check, my student loans are paid.
Yeah.
If Shohei was just kind to me for one of his games, well, he works 162 a year. One game, he can't get the check.
I also saw an interesting stat with this $700 million contract. Ken Griffey Jr. will be paid more than Shohei Ohtani next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much will he be paid?
I don't know.
Some along the lines of $5 million. Because his contract with the Cincinnati Reds at the end of his career was also deferred.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy how this is working out, especially for the Dodgers.
$3.5 million.
$3.5 million? Okay.
And I get it. Ken Griffey Jr. on paper right now is a better baseball player than Shohei Ohtani.
Just start a narrative.
Sure, Shohei has the intangibles.
but the kid.
When ball hits bat, I want Ken Griffey Jr.
Right now?
Death laser pointed at the earth. Give me Ken Griffey.
Right now. Not today, but I think that contract's going to be crazy. But there was news yesterday. Yamamoto was with the Yankees, and I think Hideki Matsui and Masahiro Tanaka were at that meeting for the Yankees. And I think the Yankees are now, obviously, because they just met with them, are now back to being the front runners. Well, but I think the Dodgers are going to be scary again with Yamamoto.
Can you imagine?
That is great, but as of an hour ago, the Dodgers met with him.
Yeah.
So
can you imagine?
Now, he's not going to get a contract anywhere near this. I don't think we're going to see a contract anywhere near this for...
As he shouldn't. He's never...
hit the ball.
Yeah.
He's not... Listen, he is a great pitcher.
$800 million.
But he's also not putting up 40 home runs and 30 triples in a year.
Can you imagine the disrespect to Shohei Ohtani? If this guy comes over, never playing any American baseball, and they're just like, yeah, he's the highest paid baseball player now. It's on the same team too.
And can you imagine he gives up like a 4 ERA after all that?
Also deferred so that in 10 years the Dodgers just suck. They can't sign anyone.
Dodgers 10 years from now are just going to be an apathetic organization, but they just made trillions of dollars off of all the endorsements from Shohei Ohtani, so they're okay with it.
Yeah, they'll actually just his money he'll give to them as a player will probably pay for that.
True.
Can you imagine Shohei just requests a trade after all of that?
And the 1, 2, 3 that's gonna be Betts, Ohtani, Freeman is just gonna be lethal for the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I think it's till Freddie retires, right? Or at least
the end of his contract is 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
from what I can recall.
I'm sure they'll have another superstar.
And Freddie. Yeah. Freddie's type of gameplay isn't the kind that deteriorates quickly. He's a slap ball hitter who plays first base. He can play a long time if he wants to.
Yeah. And Betts moved to second, which is good for his legs.
It is, but at the same time, Mookie Betts could play any position in the field safely.
Fair. I'd keep him out of like center or left. I'd do my best to.
I'd throw him a catcher. Let's see what he can do.
Let's throw a show in. You want to pitch? Try catcher.
You're getting paid this much. You better be able to play catcher.
Yeah. You're a manager now. So can you imagine? We don't want you as pitcher. We want you as catcher. That'd be a crazy conversation.
What, you said you can't pitch the first year of your contract. What do you expect us to do? Just DH you? No.
Can you imagine if Shohei goes, I don't feel like pitching anymore after all?
Oh, he could.
He really could. They're all that. But anyway, we're going to move on. This one's going to be a little bit more of a Liam-centric story here. Quarterback Tommy DeVito of the New York Giants has moved to 3-1 as a starter. The once hopeless team is now 1 week away with a little help from the Bucs, Browns, Panthers, Commanders, and Eagles winning, along with the Giants, of course. They become the 7th seed. If the Giants are able to pull off this miracle, are they going to stick with Tommy Cutlets as their quarterback? Or is there no shot they can move Danny Dimes aside?
Ooh, that's a tough question. What they should do or what they can do is two very different questions. Because Daniel Jones is still being paid $40 million a year.
Let me give you perspective here. I've said this before in a similar situation. You got to remember that Drew Bledsoe was the highest paid quarterback when he got hurt and Tom Brady came in. You got to think about something.
Do not compare Tommy DeVito to Tom Brady. The only thing they have in common is that they both play quarterback and their names are Tom. Tommy DeVito's good. For now. But he's not Tom Brady.
But you get my point.
Let's relax.
If he's better, but Danny Dimes isn't even Drew Bledsoe.
That's a good point. That is a good point. That.
These are two.
And it's another thing that also goes along with this is Danny Dimes just got signed for, 4 years of this? I think
it was 4, yeah.
So it's $40 million for the next 4 years.
Well, they can cut him, I think, now and take a massive salary cap hit next year. And then be okay, I think. I don't think he'll count against our cap for the next 2 years.
Or you could trade him to a team like the Falcons.
No one wants that contract.
The Falcons.
No one wants it.
They'd be ones to take it.
We would have to trade him a first-round pick with it.
I think
there's no way
you
can
get him to the Falcons with a mid-round pick. You can get him to the Falcons.
Joe Shane would have to be a wizard, like an actual level 10 warlock. There's no way.
I'd go Falcons. Falcons would be stupid enough to take him.
I don't think anyone would take that contract at any point, really.
Let's just think about how much we hate that contract. Now think about someone who is around the game 24/7 as a career. You think that the Falcons have, as an organization, have such an incredibly low IQ that they can't see through Daniel Jones' skill set versus the money he's being paid.
When he inevitably gets traded to the Falcons this offseason, I'm going to replay this clip.
Go ahead.
But I think they should stick with him. I really do. I think at the
Daniel Jones?
No, Tommy DeVito.
Oh. Okay, you got to be more specific.
You can't just do that to me. I was about to leap over the table.
So, listen, this is what it comes down to. Who do you trust winning? Who's done more to put their team in a position to win?
This year?
In general. Look at their so far.
In general, it's Daniel Jones just because he's played more games that they've won.
He's won a playoff game.
You eliminate that last season. You eliminate one good season.
Well, you said in general, not just this year.
You eliminate one. He has been one of the worst quarterbacks.
And if you eliminate 3 games, Tommy DeVito's still a backup.
But look at your sample size, though.
Exactly. Look at your sample size.
Good point.
You are talking about 3 games. You are jumping the gun so early here.
But I'm saying...
And I have faith in this young quarterback. But he's still young. We can't jump the gun. Because this could change the tide of an organization. You look at the Browns. How long has it been since the Browns have been good?
20...
It's because... No.
21?
Actually good.
2021 when they were literally one play
actually
away from,
good.
They're one play away from going to the AFC Championship game that year.
When's the last time the Browns were actually good, Rob?
I have no recollection.
I don't either. That's because they could not get it together. Fine. Before 2021, when's the last time the Browns were good?
Oh, never.
That's because they could never piece it together at quarterback. They kept drafting. They kept believing the wrong quarterbacks. There was just no consistency at quarterback. That's kind of what we're committing to here. If we put our faith in this new quarterback, we're saying let's keep the carousel going. And that could screw you for so long. Because then you have to go out and you have to draft the next guy you believe in. And what if our GM just gets it wrong? You don't know. So there's a certain amount of me that's okay with drafting a quarterback this year. Scrapping it all. Having them compete in training camp. Tommy DeVito, Daniel Jones, and whoever we draft this year can go fight it out for a starting QB job.
But hear me out. If you draft a big name like Jaden Daniels or Penix, you're looking at having the problem that you say every time this happens. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 3 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. Are you willing to go through that? Is that okay as a Giants fan?
I don't know if there's an okay option. I think if whatever option you pick, you got a lot of doubt in your head.
Okay, I think the best option here. Now hear me out. Just turn every Sunday game at Giants Stadium into a DeVito game.
Okay.
Because it'll just become one big Sunday Italian dinner. And the energy will just be so good throughout the stadium that they'll just win every time.
You say that, but we're 3-0 with him right now.
3-1.
3-1. When he starts losing, because there will be a time in his career when he starts losing, see how quickly that fun Italian narrative goes away. It goes away real quick.
Oh, I know.
Winning cures everything. The most likable people are winners. When your quarterback sucks, no one likes you.
That's true.
It's true.
And I think that he right now, of course, we don't have much of a sample size. Right now, Tommy DeVito is a winner at this point in time. But I know that Daniel Jones is not a winner.
I agree.
So I would rather stick with the prospect of a winner.
I have to agree with you.
A known loser. So,
and I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate here because I've been arguing a little bit on both sides. But I do think the Daniel Jones era needs to be done.
Because I'm looking at his good season. When he won a playoff game. When he did that. The playoff game, he was great. He was good in that playoff game. But we'll go one game, fine. Let's go over that season. We went to 2 games, I believe. 2 Giants games that year. I have never seen such a phenomenally disciplined and coached defense on the Giants in my entire life. You had Saquon Barkley running the rock like I've never seen before. You had a good O-line that was good enough to get you through.
You had an okay O-line.
You had a good enough, as I said. Like, they're good enough. They were better run blockers.
Andrew Thomas was very good.
Yes. Your passing game was okay. It was okay. Isaiah Hodgins, now don't get me wrong, the receiving core was not that great. But Isaiah Hodgins was kind of carrying that passing game. But when it came
he only came on late.
Yeah. So the passing game was... They went on a losing streak because they couldn't pass the ball, save them lives.
Richie James was our number 1 receiver for like 4 weeks.
You went on like a 1-4 streak there, and it was just because they just stopped Saquon. They couldn't do anything. So when that happened, you're looking at a quarterback that can run because he does well. When their offense is clicking is when Saquon gets open, and then they do a quick Danny Dimes run, and it worked for so long, but then it eventually fades out. His legs are going to give out. He's hurt again. He tore his ACL. How is that speed going to be part of his game?
Well, that's the thing. The only thing he had going for him was he honestly had the legs to carry an organization. The problem is he didn't have the arm or the mind. Now the legs are in question. So what are we betting on?
That is probably the point that I'm trying to make is just he just doesn't have it. I think with the contract he has, you're kind of stuck now. But I've seen people find ways to go around it, make it work. So if you do choose to stick with, especially if Tommy DeVito leads you to playoffs, why would you bench him for Danny Dimes?
It's going to be a real tough road if we're talking about playoffs right now.
It is possible next week you could be in the playoffs.
I understand that.
You can.
But what do we need to happen? Just looking at here, we need 6 games, including the Giants game, to go our way.
But that's with...
Imagine placing a parlay on that.
By the way, there's still 3 weeks left.
No way.
So half of these going right.
And we got to beat the Eagles twice and the Rams once. And that's if we beat the Saints.
Rams, I wouldn't be crazy worried about. The Eagles are...
The Rams every other week are explosive.
True.
Every other week.
But their defense is a bunch of brick walls.
Aaron Donald.
That's it.
And what pass protector do you think is going to block Aaron Donald?
Also, describing a defense as a brick wall isn't helping you.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Sorry.
Yeah. It's
sack of potatoes.
Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese. Burnt toast.
There you go.
Sack of potatoes.
And literally anything but a brick wall.
Yeah, brick wall was the worst option you could have
good point. Sorry, my bad. But stick with Tommy DeVito. And also, I do love the Italian...
he's fun.
And he's from Jersey. It's a great narrative that you have to keep.
When he threw the ball to Hodgins, was it to Hodgins?
Oh my God, that was a great ball.
Great ball.
Great catch.
Yeah.
If anything, he's just the number one backup next year for the Giants.
Yeah, he could be.
He might be honestly the reason you don't draft a quarterback though.
I know.
That's the worst thing that could come out of this is you guys just that's it. You start Daniel Jones and put DeVito at backup and move on.
That would be the worst option.
That's the worst.
That would be the worst option.
But it is now time for game time. There's actual music. All right, we have the second installment of Through the Numbers. Just like the first time, I'll give you each 3 sets of stats, where you'll give me guesses as to who these players are. This time, we will have the numbers posted on our socials, so you can go there and see the blank stats and play the game with Liam and Rob.
See, that's smart. That's smart.
Thanks, man. Here is the new version. I give Liam NFL and Rob MLB players. The third one is a rookie. No position, just a rookie.
Oh, we're screwed.
They are worth 2 points. You both have both of the player's stats. That is because if the answer is not given by the initial player, the other one has one guess to steal the point, or points. Are you guys ready? Also, fun fact, you have 10 minutes off air. Ready, set, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and stop. All right, guys. We fast forwarded to the end here. I'm not just gonna. It was quiet, so we're not recording that. So
it was very quiet.
Very quiet. Every time I spoke, I got told to shut up. So we are going to flip a coin on who has to answer first. Hold on. Where did I put the coin?
You just had it.
I really did too. I'm such a shame. Oh, there it is. All right. Heads is Rob. Tails is Liam. Heads, Rob, once again, 0 for 2. You are going to go first, and then, of course, it goes 1, 1, 1, back and forth, okay?
Okay.
So, Rob, give me your 3 answers for his first question, which was a first baseman.
So I get to give you 3?
Correct.
Okay, I'm going with Matt Olson.
That is incorrect.
Reese Hoskins.
That is incorrect.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
You got it! Rob has got a point. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the answer. Liam, you cannot steal. That is 1 point for Rob.
I would like to steal. I'm going to guess Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
All right. Liam, you are up. Liam, you had a quarterback.
All right. So what my thought process here was 90 games played. That amounts to 5.6 healthy seasons. He threw he's a good quarterback, not great. Threw on a decent amount of touchdowns to interceptions. I'm about to talk myself out of my answer, actually. But he gets sacked a lot. I'm going Derek Carr to start.
No.
Dak Prescott.
No. At the buzzer, does he have a vintage moment in him?
Jared Goff.
No! Rob, you get 1 guess to steal.
I have no idea.
Just give a guess.
Joe Flacco.
Oh, wow.
He's played a lot of games.
I know he has.
Oh.
I just didn't. That was the first time I looked at the QB stat line for this game. So I just said the first quarterback that came to my mind.
The quarterback was Josh Allen. After all that, Josh Allen was the quarterback. All right. Rob, you're center fielder.
Okay, so maybe I should break it down this time instead of just randomly guessing out loud.
Just going right through it?
Yeah, I was just ready to go. So, we have approximately 5.5 years of service time in Major League Baseball. A decent amount of home runs, but a lot of strikeouts. My first guess is going to be Cody Bellinger.
That is correct! 1 for 1! Wow! That's amazing! That's amazing. Yes, Cody Bellinger was correct. All right.
I got no shot. There's no way I get 2 in a row here.
Liam, you have a NFC wide receiver.
Oh, no. I forgot he was NFC.
It was written on your paper.
I have 4 guesses down, and 2 of them are in the NFC. So, 3.5 years played. Somewhat young. He gets 70 receptions a year. 70 receptions a year on 104 targets, 8 touchdowns. His long is 76, so he's got to have a little bit of closing speed. I'm going DK Metcalf.
Incorrect.
AJ Brown.
No.
Now I have to come up with someone. 3.5 years played. In the NFC currently?
Yep, and he's never left.
DJ Moore.
No. The answer is... Oh, Rob, you get one
I
steal.
don't know.
Just tap out?
Yeah, I haven't looked at this at all.
Can you just say a wide receiver just in case?
Nope.
To see if you could seal it?
Nah.
You get it. You seal it.
I understand that.
He already won.
Okay. The answer... You could still steal.
That's right.
The answer is Brandon Ayuk.
Oof, I was not going to say that name.
I was
not going to say that name.
All right. Now we go to the 2-pointers.
He gets a lot of receptions.
Yeah.
Wow.
We go to the 2-pointer. The game is still open.
You're right.
2-pointer here. We have rookies. We're going to lead off with Rob. For a chance to really seal it.
Okay, so the first stat I looked at was games played. So he started most of the year, so it wasn't a rookie that came in halfway through, which eliminated a vast majority of rookies this year. Mm-hmm. And then the doubles stood out to me with 21. He had 24 home runs, so it was a 2020 rookie season. Not bad, pretty good. 263 average. My first guess is Masataka Yoshida of the Boston Red Sox.
No.
Thank God.
My second guess, this feels wrong because stolen bases were 0, but I'm going to go James Outman of the Dodgers.
No.
All right. And my last guess, I only wrote down 2. I didn't realize we got 3 options. I completely forgot that part. My last guess is going to be Gunnar Henderson. I know that's wrong.
That would have been what I said.
Liam, you have to...
I had Outman, and then when you said Outman, I had Gunnar, and then I was like, all right, I'm out of baseball players.
all right, Liam.
I mean, I know there's no shot, but let's go with Oswaldo Cabrera.
No. The answer was on the team that you presented, but it wasn't Masataka Yoshida. Who was over there first base.
It was Casas.
It was Casas.
Dang it.
You were close. When you said Boston Red Sox, I was like, no
I should have gotten that
way. He goes 3 for 3. But the game is still wide open. Liam, who is your rookie?
All right. 1,365 yards. Leads me to believe that he hasn't played a full season. 4 to 7 touchdown interception ratio. He's nothing standout, and he's obviously a quarterback. First of all, I'm going to go Aiden O'Connell.
That is correct! This game is
Send it to OT!
We're going to overtime, and hold on, I have to figure out what happens in overtime. And we are back, and I have invented the new sudden death rules, because I didn't think we'd be tied. So sudden death will go as follows. You'll each get 1 extra player each, and how it goes is it's going to be a little bit different than usual. Liam, you will be getting a linebacker, and Rob, you'll be getting a infielder.
I have a question off rip.
What?
What do you consider a linebacker? Is an edge rusher a linebacker?
It could be either one. It's edge/outside linebacker. How about that?
So that works?
Yes.
Okay.
And Rob, you have a left half of the infield player. So, that's fair.
Was mine a left outside or a right outside linebacker?
No, because it's either inside or outside. So, you guys get that. You guys get 5 minutes to figure it out. And how it works is when we start guessing, it will start with Liam this time, and Rob will get the rebuttal. And how it works is they each get 3 guesses to go back and forth with their players. But once that happens, it is sudden death, to which we'll do a coin flip for who gets to go first. And then we go from there. And the first one to answer either one of the players wins. So we'll be back. And we're back. So, after this long thought process, Liam, you can be first in your guesses.
All right. So we got 147 games played. That equates to 9 healthy seasons. Got 99.5 sacks. So we're looking at 11 sacks per season. 3 picks, 2 touchdowns, 30 forced fumbles. The only thing that's throwing me off about this guy not being a pure edge rusher is that he has 30 passes defensed. He had to have been in the league a long time. Edge rushers don't usually last too long, at least healthy. Number 1, I'm going Khalil Mack.
That is correct!
Told you I could do it in one.
So, he got Khalil Mack. Rob has 3 guesses to get his, or this game is over. Rob with a 2-point lead. Coming in, trying to finally beat Liam at one of these games. Has a shot here.
Has a very similar stat line to Cody Bellinger, but with a way worse batting average. Infielder, my first guess is going to be J.P. Crawford.
That is incorrect.
Okay. My second guess, Ha-Seong Kim.
Incorrect. It is down to the final guess of the game.
Mike Yezztremskee.
Mike Yezztremskee.
You know it's not right because you can't pronounce it.
I just said it, too.
It's incorrect. It was Max Muncy. That was Max Muncy.
Max Muncy's only played 5.5 years worth of baseball?
Mm-hmm.
That feels so wrong.
So that was.
I'm throwing the challenge flag.
So, that will conclude through the numbers and a shocking comeback for Liam as he takes the victory. I cannot believe it. That was a crazy ending to game time. Again, thank you. And I hope you guys enjoyed playing. And tell us how many you guys got right or wrong on our socials. Because we will, obviously, the answers are posted in the podcast. So we're going to be posting the sheet before the podcast there. So take the time to think.
Yes.
I like how you put this part after the game.
All right, so it is comment time. That was so classy, my friend.
Yeah, Rob, what are you doing, dude?
What was that? All right, so our first comment is from Dave. He says, now that the Yankees have helped the fan base by putting last year behind them with Soto, Steve Cohen has to do the same thing for the Mets by signing Yamamoto, no matter the cost. And also, he loves the podcast. What do we think? Does Steve Cohen have to get Yamamoto?
I wasn't listening to you. I have to reread the quote.
What were you doing?
Zoning out.
So,
Rob, do the Mets need Yamamoto?
Do the Mets need Yamamoto?
Yezztremskee?
This is horrific. Anyway, do they need him? No. They don't need him. Would it help the team out a lot? Yes. I think the Mets are going to do whatever they can to get him. I do not think it is the answer that the Mets are looking for, though.
Think it's just a Band-Aid on a bullet hole?
It's not a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. It's more that their whole issue is their entire pitching structure, starting to bullpen. Now, a good starter like this would help. I just think they have other pieces that would help more.
I'm going to say it's a bullet on a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. Yezztremskee.
We've all messed up.
There is so many more problems with the Mets. Their hitting took a sharp decline last year. It looked like Pete Alonso was maybe the only player out there. And even he took a step back. It felt like the pitching isn't that good with the departure of Verlander and Scherzer, and it was so hyped up before.
It was terrible with them.
And it was terrible with them.
It's only Senga.
And that's it, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, Senga's good, but yeah, I think they should get Yamamoto, but I don't know if that's where you stop.
Yeah. And they lost out on the Korean outfielder.
What's his name?
I forgot.
Jung Ho Lee.
Jung Ho.
Did you have that up on your phone?
I may have gotten the passive notification.
You got a passive notification, yep.
He is going to the San Francisco Giants. So they're out on the hitter they wanted. So now they have to make some splash somewhere else. And they lost on Ohtani because he went to the Dodgers. So thank you, Dave, and thank you for loving the podcast.
Shout out, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Go, Dave.
Next is Allie, who wanted to make a comment. And she stated, Tommy Chicken Cutlets is doing pretty well. Don't get me wrong, he's no Geno Smith, but I think the Giants could have a shot at the playoffs with him. What do we think, Liam?
He's definitely no Geno Smith, and I love that. Geno Smith's tenure with the Giants was not one that I loved, but Allie is obsessed with Geno Smith. I mean, they do have a shot at the playoffs. We haven't really lost it. Well, we've lost one. But we're on a 3-game win streak. We got the Saints next week. We can realistically take one game from the Eagles, and if we can win one at the Rams, we got a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think Geno Smith is the worst football player to ever live.
All right, relax. He did get punched in the jaw by his own teammate in New York, though.
I know, but I was more saying that for the reaction I knew it was going to get.
Okay.
Fair.
Because I know how much Allie loves Geno Smith.
Yeah, fair enough.
And again, thank you, Allie.
Thank you, Allie.
And last is Mike. Mike said, all sports need to stop making all of the super teams like the 2017 Warriors. It feels like all sports are starting to do that. The only team, as much as I hate to say it to Ben, is the Patriots that are out of this take. It needs to stop. We're going to start with that quote. What do you think? He put 2 quotes down, so we're going to just lead off with that one.
Okay, so I think the buying team narrative is interesting with certain sports. Like with baseball, there is no salary cap.
Yeah.
Any team can go out and make whatever splash they want. It's just teams outbidding.
Which to me is a problem. But, I mean, I know that's the way baseball's always been played. But I don't know. It makes it less enjoyable for me. The good teams stay good.
Good teams are always going to stay good.
But imagine if you're an A's fan.
Well, that's different because they don't even try to get good. They don't even try to get players. They haven't done anything worth actively pursuing playoffs in years. I think it's really hard to build a super team in most sports. I think it really is to do it properly. Last time anyone did it, especially in baseball that I can think of, a proper super team would be the 2009 Yankees. They went out and bought every player they could. That's just what happened. I don't think they can do that anymore. I think there's too many teams willing to compete that buying a super team is less likely now than ever before.
See, the thing that baseball has going for them, although I do hate the salary cap issue, is that the players don't have as much control as opposed to a sport like basketball. Baseball, you see, the teams are competing to get these players, and the players sign generally wherever the money's good. In basketball, the players really control the sport, and that's where I think you see the most problems with super teams. There's 5 players on a court. If one superstar wants to go to an already established great team, like we kind of saw with the Suns, like we kind of saw with the Bucks, the Celtics, these are borderline super teams that we're seeing right now. And it's because these players have so much control over the league, and the salary cap is frankly not that strict. You can have 3 giant names in your team and still build a solid roster. So yeah, I think it is an issue, but I don't know if there's a realistic way we can solve this problem, because in baseball you can't add a salary cap. There's no way.
Okay, here's a way we solve this issue, right? We take every player from every team at the end of each season, put them up on a big wheel with all the teams. They stand next to the wheel, they spin it. Whatever team it lands on is the team they go to until a roster is filled out.
That is ridiculous.
But it would honestly be kind of fun to watch.
It would. I would love that. But
I'd love that for just a tournament or something.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Could you imagine back-to-back, the team gets the top 2?
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that I think it needs to stop primarily in basketball. And the way to do that is, you know how there's such a thing as a no-trade clause for the player?
Get rid of that.
There should be a no-trade clause for the team. Meaning, you're stuck here unless...
You can't do that, because then they just sit out.
Then they don't get money at all. Then bye-bye to your money. They should not be...
Yeah, but players at the end of their contract will just do that. They'll sit out.
No, fair. But you can't really do that with any sport, though. If the player doesn't want to play and you don't pay him, it's like any other job. We can leave our jobs whenever we want.
I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is the no-trade clause with the player because it gives them so much power. They get to pick exactly where they go.
True.
It needs to be wherever the best package is given or the most money is given, that's where a player signs.
True, and also request trades being denied should be... I don't know, the fact that they don't play is ridiculous. The fact that the players have way too much power in the NBA.
It's true.
And that's what's...
Because it's a superstar's game.
And it's ruining the sport, in a way.
Yeah.
So, I think baseball's problem is that the baseball's salary cap problem seems to be hidden a lot because it's weird because the non-salary teams are kind of winning, which is weird. Like all the big salary cap teams, like the Yankees, Dodgers, and Mets...
I think that's an outlier, though.
Haven't done much, though, recently.
It's an outlier.
The Dodgers won the COVID year. That's about it since 2009.
And also, we got to talk about football. Football does a really good job of not having super teams.
They're the best at it.
Strict salary cap, and there's 22 players on the field. If you count special teams, a lot more. So it's really tough to put together a super team when one player cannot win you a game.
What's good about the NFL is to the victor does not go the spoils. To the victor goes
the tougher
crap.
Road, yeah.
And to the loser goes the spoils. And that's the best way to handle it.
I agree.
So the NFL is doing the best at it, but the players somewhat are gaining more power, but it's way more of a slow process.
It's still not going to affect it the way it does baseball or basketball.
There's
because
only
again,
so much you can do.
It's not 5 players on the court.
Exactly.
There's 22.
And they still go to the money for the bad teams.
Absolutely.
So, thank you. And his last comment was, once one person blows up, they need to chill out on the overhype. How can we say players like Burrow are the best players when they have had only one good year? But it's the same with the other way. Why does one bad year make a person horrible?
It doesn't necessarily, but you have to look into what you're saying. Burrow is that good for a reason because he's young and there's no signs of, as long as he stays healthy, him slowing down. And you look at what he was able to do so young. He was able to go to the Super Bowl. He was able to overcome one of the worst O-lines I've ever seen and still, make it out and have a decent shot at a Super Bowl.
But this sticks with his point, though. Why does only 1 year determine that this is the best?
So are you going to tell me that Burrow isn't one of the best players
in
the league?
I'm just trying to ask you the question. Why does only that year make him the best?
I think it's how good they do that determines their best. Because Joe Burrow's first year wasn't a good year.
He didn't play.
Exactly. His first year playing, because that's what we're going off of here, I'm assuming. Yes? Yeah. We're not going off of the first year where he was injured?
Okay, good.
Okay, cool.
He played like 3 games, I think.
Either way.
He was solid.
Exactly. But his first year, he wasn't good. He was better than good. He was better than most quarterbacks in the league. And that's kind of where you set that line. It's, why is a rookie great in baseball? Well, it's not because they're the best rookie playing middling baseball. No, it's because they're better than 85% of all the other Major League Baseball players out there. That's what a 1 year this guy is great will say about a player. It's not that they're doing good for a rookie. It's that they're doing better than most players at their level who have been competing for years already.
And that's where I think there is a certain skill in watching football too, or any sport, is you have to know when to buy the hype and when to sell. You see it in, when you play fantasy, when you do sports betting, whatever it may be, you have to know that, oh, this player's overhyped, or, oh, this player, he had a great year, but he can keep it going. And, it's kind of up to the individual to hop on a hype train or, hop off. And depending on how many people, the general consensus of the public, hype trains are going to go up and down. And again, it's kind of however you feel about it is really that player's value at that current time.
And the same kind of goes with a bad year. It's not just that they played bad for their standards, it's that they played worse than anyone could have ever imagined they played.
Sometimes.
Now, don't get me wrong, especially with sports shows like the ones on ESPN, sometimes even our own, we'll over-dramatize the situation. Yeah. Just because it's easier to talk about when you say someone is completely washed, even if it's just a slump year. You got to understand, talking heads are still just talking heads.
Absolutely. But one example I want to bring up just before we get off this topic is Davante Adams, I think, is a perfect example. We still consider Davante Adams one of the better receivers in football. Why? He's having a down year. His numbers aren't that great. He hasn't caught that many touchdowns. He hasn't got that many yards. Because his team stinks. You still have to look at things other than the numbers and other than, just the eye test. You have to look into what you're talking about. Davante Adams runs some of the best routes you'll ever see still in the NFL. Just because he's not playing with a generational talent quarterback that can get him the ball exactly where he needs it doesn't make him any worse. It's just hurt his production.
Look at Randy Moss. He had Frank Tarkenton throwing him the ball for a little bit. Did phenomenal. Then he had whoever was on the Raiders at that time. Did terrible. Then he had Tom Brady throwing him the ball. Had the best season of his career. So it does matter who surrounds you. And of course, we'd like to thank Mike for that comment. And we go to our final segment of the episode, Locks and Upsets. So, I'm going to lead off this time, and I'm going to go with a very casual one with Stuart Bingham beating Manashwin Petamaliku in the Snooker Scottish Open.
You clearly don't even know who that is. It's almost disrespectful to the sport that you would mispronounce that name.
Well, then what is your lock?
My lock is Adam Sudsey over Darius Toma in the World Table Tennis Feeder Bila qualifiers.
Wow.
This year he has come out and he has lit the table tennis world on fire. His backhand looks phenomenal. His forehand has always looked that good. He's just playing with a tenacity that we have maybe never seen in the table tennis world.
Stuart Bingham? And tennis. Table tennis, sorry.
I'm talking about Adam Sudsey, dude.
Dude, Stuart Bingham's been crazy, though. The absolute effort he puts in and day out to win.
Where'd Stuart Bingham come from?
All right, Rob, what's your lock?
Now, I see the routes that you guys have taken, right? And I follow these roads a little bit. They're a bit more on the unbeaten path, if you will.
More?
On the unbeaten path? Yes. The picks you take? Yes.
Oh, ours are more on the unbeaten path.
Yeah.
I thought you were going a level above us.
No.
I was like, good
luck. It's really hard to, so I'm just going to pick the Ravens over the Jaguars this Sunday.
Fair enough.
All right, and for my upset, I'm going Covington over Edwards this Saturday. I think
I like it.
Kobe Covington beats Leon Edwards.
I would have to agree with you.
In UFC 296, I believe it's called.
I'm going the Cowboys over the Bills. I would love to take the Bills here, but I don't understand how the Cowboys can be underdogs.
That's unbelievable. They're the best team in the league right now.
Right now, I would say 49ers Cowboys.
49ers Cowboys, yeah, I agree. Sorry.
Ravens.
No, see, they might be, but they're not hot. Cowboys just beat the Eagles.
Handily by that.
Yeah.
Getting A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Devontae Smith to fumble me out of my fantasy victory, by the way. I lost by 7 yards.
I know, I saw.
I'm dead inside. But, just a side note, if I win this week in fantasy, I kick Liam out of the playoffs.
True. Let's also just point out that Ben is the worst team in the league. So let's not let him brag.
I was 3-1 at one point, like a week ago. Now I'm 3-2 in the last 5 weeks. I had the worst. I auto-drafted. I'm an idiot. I auto-drafted. All right, Rob, what's your upset?
My upset is the Jazz over the Kings this Saturday.
Jazz over Kings on Saturday?
Yep.
All right, guys.
I'm feeling jazzy.
I don't know if I would have taken that one.
And as always, I'd like to thank you all for listening. Oh, by the way, before I go into that, my bad. Right now, our current standings, I am 12-2 in locks and 4-10 in upsets, giving me a grand total of 16-12. Rob, you are 9-5 in locks and 5-9 in upsets. That's crazy. And you're 14-14. The definition of mid.
Whoa. These are two different. Okay, what? Yeah, definition of mid. Keep reading your fancy words.
And Liam, you are 11-2.
Mid.
Liam, you are 11.
Definition of mid. I'm not letting you talk after you said that. You're just being rude.
Get him.
All right, you're 11-2 in locks and 3-10 in upsets, giving you a 14-12 record. So, I'd like to thank you all for listening. You can follow us on our socials at Dear Hollow Heroes. You can also email us through dearhollowheroes@gmail.com. Message us and let us know about the topics we discuss or take of your own. Listen to us on most platforms where you get your podcasts. Thank you, Liam and Rob, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Talk to you later.
Yezztremskee.